Hey, what's going on, everybody? Noah here.
And Ethan.
And so this is the first episode, or first official episode of the Flynn Files that isn't alive. And what we're going to be kind of like going over today is the recent San Diego Comic Con event that just took place over the weekend, because there's a ton of things that was really, really exciting from that event that we're going to kind of cover and talk about. So, Ethan, what did you think about the event first of all?
Yeah, no, I mean that event. I'm super excited to talk about this. A lot of stuff went down. We got some, Ghost Rider news. We got some new Black Panther. I'm really excited to get into though.
Absolutely. And I think what like is first of all kind of has to be said about this that's like really really exciting is just the simple fact that for what feels like the first time in a long time, we actually have something to like really be excited with Marvel right now, because as you kind of know, like we've been kind of in the dark ages of Marvel, you know what I mean? Like
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's no secret that we've been in a rough patch the last couple years, but with everything coming out like Brand New Day and Doomsday, it looks like it's going to be a good time for the Marvel fans.
Absolutely. So with this event, it always kind of like it's like where do you begin? Because there was so much that happened with this event. Where would you like to start?
I mean, I think we should get out of the way. Like obviously, John Berthal showed up and is promoting Spider-Man, which is coming out this Friday, which I am so excited to see. Can't wait. If anybody didn't catch it, please go watch our live we did where we talked about Brand New Day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you and I actually will be going to see it together on Saturday. We won't be able to Friday night. Unfortunately, I have to work, so we won't be able to see the premiere. But it's okay because we're going to go see that movie quite literally the next day on Saturday, the first. I'm super excited for that because again. We kind of talked about Brand New Day a lot in our live, and so that's where I'm kind of like definitely go check that out if you guys are interested in like our take on Brand New Day before it comes out. So I don't want to spend necessarily too much time talking about Brand New Day, but I am super super excited for it. I think there's a lot of potential, but as we kind of talked about on the live last night, there's some things that I think we need to be kind of like aware of before going into the movie. And I guess technically we could say that with all of the announcements that
Yeah,
were made.
I'd say caution is advised. I mean, take it with a grain of
Right.
salt. I mean, I know we all want to be super excited for the next thing, and I'm super excited, but we gotta kind of pull ourselves back, and we can't allow ourselves to get too hyped, knowing the track record of the last few years.
Right. I think that's a really, really fair point. I know one of the biggest pieces of news that like we were talking about for you specifically, I think we should just jump right into it, was the Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider announcement. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, dude?
Oh, I am super stoked. And it's no secret to anybody that knows me. Ghost Rider is one of my favorite all-time characters. I love every version of him, from Johnny Bland's Danny Ketch and Robbie. Sorry, I can't think of the third name.
Ramirez or
Yeah, Robbie, something like that. Man, it's gonna kill me. It'll come to me soon, I'm sure.
it'll come to you. I know why like that name doesn't come to you at first, because like we were quite literally talking about the fact that like obviously Johnny Blaze is the name that everybody kind of like instantly goes to, and then Danny Catch we like is on your mind because that's kind of like our thinkings possibly on like who he might be playing.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, there's definitely some discourse. I mean, I've been seeing all online that are like, is it Johnny? Is it Danny? I'm on the camp that it's going to be Danny. There's a couple little like I'd say Easter eggs they kind of threw in there. Like the logo they're using is ripped straight from the comics, from from Danny Catches. I also think his storyline will kind of fit in this new tone of the MCU that seems like they're heading down.
Right, and it's definitely worth mentioning as well, like along that train of thought, is the fact that like supposedly, according to Kevin Feige during one of the interviews at the event, he said something about how Ryan Gosling, who had been wanting to play the character for a while, was discussing with the now director Sean Levy about a take on the Ghost Rider character, and apparently Kevin Feige like loved it, like he was all in for this. So that's a really interesting concept. Just based off of like when you heard that, like, do you think that's about like the Danny Ketch thing, or what do you think?
I mean, that's a it's honestly kind of up to Ryan Gosling at that point because it's like, who did he connect more? Was he more of a '90s fan when Danny was around, or is he more like an early 2000s when, or earlier when Johnny was more of the front runner? But
Right.
I am very enthusiastic about the Ghost Rider because the movie pitch was from Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy. This isn't going to be hopefully another Blade situation where we get Marshall Ali to play him and then nothing comes to fruition. They couldn't find a director, just couldn't find a script that worked. But the script and the cast already seemed locked, and
Right.
it was locked before it even got to Feige, which is I think is really really great for any Ghost Rider fans out there.
Oh, absolutely, and I fully agree with that. I mean, kind of like back to what you were saying about the Blade situation though. That one confuses me to no end because I'm like,
Yeah,
to me, you cannot convince me that like with an actor like Mahershala Ali that you couldn't find a director or a script that would fit because like Blade is such an interesting character that like I almost wonder if it had something to do more with like Wesley Snipes being involved because like remember that joke from the Wolverine and Deadpool movie where he's like, "Oh, there's only going to be one Blade." Like I feel like there might have been some shit with that Wesley Snipes was kind of like holding up stuff because he didn't want to give up rights to certain things.
it could be. I just don't know how many rights Wesley Snipes had. I think that comment was more made to the joke that the Blade script was not coming along.
It very well could have.
Because I think if I remember correctly, that was right after where like they basically just scrapped the project. Because I don't believe it's further along. From what I remember, the with the Blade situation is a lot of the issues just had to do with the script, and I think Ali actually like fought with the now direct who the director was supposed to be,
Hmm.
and there was conflictions because they wanted to take it down like a whole road. I think there was like leaked plot where basically Blade was going to be kind of like a backseat character, and there was going to be like a different lead. I think
Right.
either like a daughter or something. Um, yeah, and I know Ali had a problem with that, um, which I think a lot of fans would because they want to see Blade as the focal point.
Right. And he's a character that definitely should. It's just upsetting because like I remember when I first saw that announcement before it got scrapped and I remember just sitting there thinking about the possibilities, especially with the Midnight Suns, because you already had
Oh
Moon
yeah.
Knight that was established with the Moon Knight series, and obviously all the things that they were doing with Dane Whitman and the Eternals
Mhm.
movie. Like we had something, especially now that you're adding Ryan Gosling, Ghost Rider, to the mix. Like now I'm even more upset the fact that like the
I really
Blade,
hope they can find somewhere to fit Ollie in,
yeah,
even if it's not a main film yet. Like, just get him in there. I mean, yeah, I Midnight Suns would be like my the most wanted thing I want. Give me Ghost Rider, give me Moon Knight, give me that
right.
team.
Right. And honestly, and this might be the cynic in me about it, but it's also kind of like, again, we're not 100% sure what's really all going on with the behind the scenes stuff with Blade, right? But I will say, if it's a point where it's like Mahershala Ali is being the issue, like if it's just about the writing, you got to find somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a solution to that problem. But if it's like an issue where they're like Mahershala Ali is being a problem, at that point, like get rid of him. Like
Yeah, you
hire a
either
new
gotta
actor.
get a new actor or get a new director. Like wherever the issue
Something.
is lying, like
Right.
we gotta fix that because there's so many people that want Blade, and he is one of the most popular African American characters. I mean, come on, we need
Right.
him.
Right. I completely agree with that. And it's kind of like, so obviously, to kind of get back to Ghost Rider, to kind of, finish out, like, because there's a lot that I think we need to cover with the
Yeah,
SDCC thing here. But to kind of like, just final comments about that. Because again, we don't know a lot about this movie. I just think people should be excited for this because I've seen some discord about, like, people being weary about Ryan Gosling taking on the character because I think they're just basically referencing the fact that he played Ken and Barbie and stuff like that. And like they're seeing the funny side of him and stuff. But like he's played some roles that like I really think fit this character. And it's kind of like give the guy a chance. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't necessarily my first pick either, but give the guy a chance. You know what I mean? Like see what he can bring to the character. And obviously, if he's sitting there having conversations with Sean Levy about the character in the script, like he cares about this character, which
yeah,
is what we really need from that character.
yeah. Funny enough, I actually seen less discourse on Ryan Gosling's casting, but more discourse with Sean Levy being the director. And I feel like that's kind of weird because, like, I mean, Sean Levy's one of my favorite directors. I think people forget all the stuff he has worked on. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he just worked on the Deadpool Wolverine movie, which I am a big fan of that. I know it's not perfect and there are some issues with it, but I think it was still a really fun time in the theaters. I mean, like Real Steel, Sean Levy worked on, and like Fall Guy, like there was a lot of stuff that he worked on. And he has worked with Ryan Gosling before, so I think it'd be really fun to see that kind of come to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. I 1,000% agree with you. But yeah, to go ahead and kind of like get to the next topic, um, where do we want to move? Because I'm kind of like, not that we were being super negative with that, because I think the Ghost Rider was, super positive. I'm super positive about it
Yeah, I
anyway.
think that was one of
Uh,
my highlights.
the Blade thing, that was a little bit negative. Um, while I think the next thing I want to talk about is the Black Panther situation because I really want to end this video on a high note rather than a low note. Not that I'm not excited about Black Panther 3, but there's
I
a
have
lot more.
mixed reservations.
Yeah, I do too, and I think that's why maybe we talk about it now because I don't want to leave on a sour note with this video, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a complicated topic. I mean, R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. I mean, ever since we lost him, the MC hasn't been the same, and with the way this all happened with his tragic passing, it's a very hard thing to come back from. Marvel side, and I
Right.
think they're trying to correct a wrong that they made, but it's just, I mean, not even wrong. It's just they took a path and now they're kind of altering it, and I don't know if that's correct. It's a it's a
Right.
it's a weird thing right now.
I 1,000% agree with you because the issue for me is the fact that they made a choice when, and again it's like we were just in an unfortunate situation because everybody loved Chadwick Boseman's version of Black Panther, and we
Absolutely.
really connected to that character because we had him in Black Panther, Infinity War, and then Endgame, so we got to know this character, right? But we didn't get really, it wasn't like, oh, we had him for 10 years, you know what I mean? Like we still kind of had him in this short period of time overall.
Yeah, he was only in
But
what, four projects, like Civil War,
oh
uh,
yes, yeah.
and then
So
Stanley, and then the two Avengers movies. So he was
yeah,
in a good bit, but he
it
just,
wasn't enough. Yeah,
yeah,
it wasn't enough. And then unfortunately, with his tragic passing, now we're in a situation where it's like you have a few different options, and this is where not that there is a right or wrong way to go about it necessarily, but it's like obviously at that point you kind of have a choice, and it's either you recast somebody as T'Challa and then continue on as if nothing ever happened, or you basically do what they did where they were like, oh, so we're going to pass on the mantle to Shuri's character with Letitia Wright being the actress for that, and obviously that's where we are now. And the problem is, and I want to state too, because like I just recently went back and rewatched Wakanda Forever, And as you kind of already know, Wakanda Forever is not my favorite Marvel film by any means, but I also think it does get a little bit more hate than it necessarily deserves because, like, I don't think the film not doing well or all that well is Letitia Wright's fault. I think it was more around the writing, and then obviously then there's the whole stuff with like Riri Williams' character, and that's a whole thing that we don't even we don't even need to dive into today necessarily. But essentially, now we're in this position where they made a choice to pass on the mantle to Shuri, but because that movie didn't do well, again, I think that had more to do with the writing. And first of all, you have to know going in that like since Chadwick unfortunately can't be a part of the project because he, passed away, it's not gonna be as necessarily well received because people don't like change, right?
Yeah.
And so now you're in this situation where because that movie didn't do as well and she's not really tracking for people, now you're in this situation where they're trying to essentially replace her. I know that's not what they're saying because she's still a part of the cast and she's still going to be a part of the project, but come on, like that now you're basically announcing at Hall H that like here's your new Black Panther, and you can kind of see from her
Yeah,
reaction.
you can read
Yeah.
between the lines. I mean, yeah, the new Black Panther, not
Mhm.
another one or like it's
Right.
like it's just going to be very interesting because the last time we did see the character that's going to be the Black Panther, he's a young kid, so it's going to be interesting how they're going to do that if they're going to like, how much time is going to be passing and stuff
Right.
because we did
Right.
see him at the end of Wakanda Forever. And then it's like how the biggest thing is how are they gonna handle Shuri? Because she
Right.
got the mantle for a movie. She's gonna be in Doomsday, but after that, that's
Possibly
gonna be
Secret Wars. Yeah, like
yeah,
possibly she'll be in
possibly.
Secret Wars.
So yeah, is it gonna be more of like a mentoring type thing where like they're going to just retire and then train, the new Black Panther? It's yeah, and I do feel bad for Letitia Wright because it's like she didn't seem the most pleasant of it wasn't a great thing. I mean, yeah, you're basically taking her like, hey, you get to be, the star, you're the Black Panther for one movie, and
Right.
then we're just gonna, pass it off.
Right. And it's like I haven't really gotten into like the online buzz about like cuz I again, it's kind of like I try not to like look into like all the politics and stuff like that because I don't think it belongs in things like this. Like, why do we have to bring
Absolutely, yeah,
politics into
no,
everything? You know what I mean? So anyway, like I know that there's been some fans upset with like some of the things she might have said, and I don't even know what those are. So I'm not going to say something I haven't seen myself or I don't know. So I don't know. Again, I try not to dive too much into that kind of stuff. But I just know that like some of the things I've seen people comment on is that they're upset with that, and that's why like they're so happy to be done with her. And it's like, okay, whether you agree with the stuff she says, whatever, who she is a person, who cares at that point? You have to at least admit like that's a that's kind of a messed up situation to be in. Like you essentially were promised like this role, and just because the first movie didn't do all that well, they're just basically like pushing you to the side now. Like that's a little messed up.
yeah. I mean, it's very interesting because it's like it feels very like kind of last minute change because it's like, but we also don't know how long this plan's been in effect. Was it always the plan, or and like was Letitia right? Did she know this was gonna happen? I'm not so sure. I think this is more of like a response to the kind of lackluster box office
Yeah.
performance of Wakanda Forever. But
Right. Right. I think so too. I think you're on the money with that one because like again like just reading the way that she's reacting and the way she's like standing on stage and stuff like that, like she did not look like she was happy to be there. And I mean again, if you're in that situation where you were given this awesome opportunity to be the Black Panther and then all of a sudden they're basically just saying like hey, now we have the new Black Panther, and you're kind of being pushed to the side. It's kind of like, yeah, I can understand you being a little salty, in that moment.
Absolutely. It's just a hard thing to swallow. I'm hopeful for this new actor to come into. I
Right.
can't remember his name. What is his name?
Let me see. That's what I was just looking at. David Johnson.
David Johnson. I'm unfamiliar with his work. I'll have to go watch a couple of his other projects to see,
Right.
what caliber of an actor he is. But I'm sure he'll be great if Marvel decided to cast him.
Oh, for sure. Like, and it's not. That's the thing. At the end of the day, it's not that dude's fault. Like he's just getting an opportunity that everybody would
Yeah.
love to have. So like, I wish
Oh,
him.
absolutely.
I hope that they do Shuri justice as well. Like, I hope they just don't up and remove that character just because it wasn't doing as well. Like give her due. Like
Yeah.
she's done well. I think at least with what she's been given. So yeah. So
I think the biggest thing with this is depending on the route they take, when is the Ghost Rider film in the Black Panther 3 going to be released? Is this
right,
going to be post Secret Wars when things are supposed to be kind of rebooted in a way, or
right.
uh so it's just going to be I think it's going to be dependent on that, how they handle that, when are they going to release it?
Right. Which I don't know about Black Panther 3, but I think the Ghost Rider was in 2028, I think.
When is Secret Wars scheduled?
So Secret Wars I believe is scheduled in 2027. So it would be a
It'd be
year
right
apart from
after.
Doomsday, yeah.
Okay. Or right.
But speaking of Doomsday, that's kind of like the last topic that we kind of have to talk about, and it's a little bit more of a high note because I'll tell you what, man. Like, if there is something that I think we're getting this year in the Marvel universe that I think is 100% like just I am so excited for, it is Doomsday.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited for it. We might be getting a new character added to the roster, maybe potentially.
Maybe potentially, and that's kind of like the biggest because other than so there was a leaked like or sorry there wasn't really a leak, there was a supposed trailer that was shown at Comic-Con. I mean, obviously I feel they would add some sort of trailer for people to see while they were there. I know that supposedly online it has been leaked because I have seen it. It's just that like I'm trying to legitimize if it's real because nowadays with AI it's sometimes hard to tell what's real and what isn't. So I'm trying to like do the proper research into it before we actually talk about what that trailer was and what it's
Yeah.
shown. But so really I think the only thing that we can really discuss that we know for sure is like what actually happened on stage and everything that was going on. And the biggest thing, obviously, was the fact that Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool shows up to Hall H in a Deadpool costume, but not the normal red one we see. In specifically a version that looks like it's from the X Force, like that gray and black version.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It kind of looked more like a denim blue I've been seeing online. It kind
It
of like a
may
little bluish tint, but yeah, I mean it's very interesting. A new suit, so same Deadpool or is it different? I mean I think it would be the same one because he would be the character that would just change his clothes and be like, hey, whatever.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, right. Like, well, especially too
But
because like he was again kind of breaking the fourth wall, but in person about asking Paul Rudd, hey, where's Thor and why was he crying? He's again referencing Deadpool and Wolverine movie. So I think it's the same Deadpool. It's just
yeah,
the fact that he's wearing a new suit. He shows up at Hall H for the Doomsday uh, you know, reactions and stuff like that. So it's kind of so what's interesting is now we have to question and ask the question like, is Deadpool going to be in Doomsday? Because yeah, he wasn't a part of the official like cast at first, but neither was Cassie Lang. She wasn't a part of the official announcement, and we know she's in the movie from the trailers, right? So
yeah.
I feel like Deadpool now could be a part of that. But when you bring up Deadpool, there's obviously some other characters, even just connected to Deadpool himself, that sorry, that we now have to ask the
Well,
question.
I
Are they
mean,
going to be in it?
there is a good chance that Deadpool. I mean, obviously this is Doomsday. A lot of characters are getting pulled. I mean, we're getting Gambit, which
Right.
was from the Deadpool 3 movie. But obviously everybody wants to know if you're getting Deadpool, are you gonna get his, partner in crime Wolverine from the last movie, which
Right.
seems to be like, they were on really good terms. Um,
Right.
also, you know, what about X-23?
Right.
Is there anything gonna happen with her with Daphne Keene? Would she be returning?
Right. There's a lot of what ifs in there, and that's where like, and that's why they did that you know
Yeah.
what I mean, at Hall H. That I mean, obviously that was a coordinated thing that they
Mm,
did. I mean, everything that they do, Kevin Feige is so good at like pulling the strings of these things to get people hyped for these things. You know what I mean?
for
Like
sure,
so
for sure.
so that's where like this was a coordinated attack on Marvel fans. Like, get excited. This is what, because they know what buzz has been said. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of supposed characters that might be added to the cast of Doomsday.
I will say, like, guys, take this with a grain of salt.
Hmm.
If the character doesn't show up in Doomsday, Secret Wars is right around the corner
Right.
after. I think it's more likely that these characters show up in Secret Wars, if anything else. Deadpool specifically is a very interesting case because he does break the fourth wall and his whole gimmick and stuff of being Marvel Jesus. It's just going to be, what would he do in Doomsday? What kind of role would he play? Because he, unlike some of these other characters, he's seen behind the curtain a little bit, not just fourth wall breaking, but with the TVA,
Right.
working with the other realities. Um, which, like, not even Doctor Strange, who is multiverse hopped, has dealt with the TVA yet.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of Doctor Strange, actually, I kind of just have to throw this out there because this is kind of like a thing that has not been discussed anywhere. It has been discussed, but it just hasn't been confirmed anywhere. Is what I want to say is back around Easter. Remember that post that Robert Downey Jr. made where it was like the Easter basket with all the different eggs in it and stuff like that, and it was all the different logos and stuff, and all the main ones that you saw at the forefront were all the confirmed people. There was an X-Men egg, there was a Doom egg, yada yada yada. Right. Well, there was
Yeah,
two in that basket that weren't confirmed for the movie yet they were in that post, and it was Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. Right now for Doctor Strange, and this is going to have to be a video all in itself, so like we won't really dive too much into this today, but the Doctor Strange one is interesting because I really am convinced at this point that Benedict Cumberbatch is in the movie. The reason I think that they're not showing or showing that he's in the movie is I think they're going to do this huge twist where Doctor Strange actually aligns with Doom rather than the other Avengers.
that that would be very interesting. But also, he could be like a Sinister Strange.
He could be, especially like with the way that the last Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie left off with like essentially because he was dream walking and stuff like that, and the third eye from Sinister Strange, like I feel like that might seep into his choice making at that point,
Yeah,
which is why maybe he aligns himself with Doom. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, it's gonna be very interesting. I mean, yeah. I mean, if Strange does align with Doctor Doom, yeah, it's like, obviously you want to believe that he has a good reason because he is Doctor Strange.
Right. Well, I
So
think
what
interest
could be that? What would be that?
me personally, I feel like it's kind of like one of those things that like so we already had like for the Infinity Saga, Thanos that wasn't always necessarily like just a straight up villain because there were parts of his character that like made sense. Like, oh, like he's doing it for a reason that he believes is right. Even if he's like taking a really extreme way of doing it, technically speaking, he has a good reason for doing it. He's just taking an extreme. And I think Doctor Doom is going to be this, but even on like up to 11, because I feel like he's going to be such a complicated character that, like, even from the clips of the trailer where he's kind of like saying like we're going to be faced with an impossible decision that we're going to have to make, I feel like he's going to be essentially like, I don't want to destroy this universe, but I have to in order to save this one and save countless lives. And technically speaking, we've already seen that kind of behavior from Doctor Strange. Like in the Spider-Man No Way Home movie, he kind of had that attitude. The Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange, like Doom, understands the consequences of incursions and the multiverse, and I feel
I
like
think
that's what.
definitely after the Multiverse of Madness, I mean,
Yeah,
with the other Doctor Strange, you know, turning against his former team, to stop Thanos, taking that darker path. I mean, we could see his 616 counterpart doing the same.
I completely agree, but like there's just again a lot of things that kind of come with this, and there's a lot of things to discuss. So I think like we kind of said at the beginning of this video, yeah, I just think for the for the first time in a long time we have an actual reason at for to be like really excited about Marvel and everything that's going on there, and it's something we're going to continue to talk about as more news comes in, as more theories go out there. So I'm really excited. If there's anything that we said in this video that you guys agree with, disagree with, let us know in the comments, and keep posted because we're going to keep talking about everything Marvel. So we'll see you guys later.
See you guys.